You've watched it happen to someone. Maybe you're watching it right now. Anna used to paint. She used to have opinions about films that weren't his opinions. A Thursday class she never missed. A laugh you could hear from the next room. 11 months into love, Anna has thinned. She orders what he orders. She waits for him to have the take before she has hers. Ask how she is, she tells you how they are. And here's what stops Maya cold at her own kitchen table. Anna isn't miserable. Anna thinks this is the most in love she's ever been. She'd tell you, glowing, that she finally learned to put someone else first. She calls the disappearing devotion. There's a French philosopher who has a colder, more precise word for what Anna is doing, not devotion. She'd call it sinking into immanence, and by the end of tonight you'll know exactly what those words mean and why they might be describing you. Because last episode, a man in this kitchen said love was a biological trick and you were its puppet. Tonight, the woman who's been sitting in the corner with a cigarette answers him, and she does it with the sharpest toolkit anyone ever built for this question. So, can you love someone all the way down and still be someone when it's over? Schopenhauer is still on page 2 of the ledger, cold and satisfied. You are the will of the species, biology pulling the strings. Simone de Beauvoir doesn't deny the biology. She says he stopped one concept too early, and to see why, you need the single idea her whole philosophy runs on. The distinction between two ways of existing. She takes it from the existentialists and sharpens it into a blade. The first is transcendence. To transcend is to reach beyond what you're given. To throw yourself out into the world through projects, work, ideas, things you make and change. A transcendent life is open, unfinished, going somewhere. It's the mode of a subject, a free being who acts. The second is immanence. To live in immanence is to be shut inside the given, trapped in repetition, maintenance, the same day over and over. Life lived as a thing that is kept, rather than a project that is launched. It's the mode of an object, something acted upon. Every human being, Beauvoir says, is both. We are freedom, and we are also facticity, the raw given of our body, our past, our situation. She has a word for holding both at once. Ambiguity. You are a fact and a freedom, an object and a subject, and an honest life refuses to collapse into just one. That's the answer to Schopenhauer in a sentence. Yes, you're a body, a fact, biology, and also a transcendence, the one animal that can take its situation and make something the species never ordered. He measured the facticity and called it the whole person. He couldn't measure the freedom, so he denied it was there. But here's the turn, and it's where Beauvoir gets frightening. If you're free, love can be lived in transcendence, or love can become the place you go to escape your freedom. And she spent 900 pages on the second one. In 1949, she published a book the Vatican put on its banned list, The Second Sex. And buried in it is a chapter that is really about Anna and about anyone who has ever done what Anna is doing. Here is the mechanism, in her terms. Being a free subject is frightening. Transcendence has no flaw. You have to invent your life with no guarantee and own every bit of it. So there is a permanent temptation to escape it, to hand your freedom to someone else and let them carry the terror of it. And love is the most beautiful hiding place ever built for exactly this. The woman in love finds a person who seems fuller, freer, more real, a transcendence in full flight, and she stops launching her own projects and starts living inside his. She makes him her world, her judge, her meaning. And watch precisely what she does in Beauvoir's vocabulary. She surrenders her role as a subject and makes herself the inessential other, the object that exists only in relation to his essential subject. He acts. She is acted upon. He transcends. She goes immanent, folding into repetition around him, keeping his world instead of building her own. And this is the concept that should change how you hear the word devotion. Beauvoir, borrowing Sartre's term, calls it bad faith, mauvaise foi, the lie you tell yourself to flee your own freedom. The woman in love pretends she is a thing, that love simply happened to her, that she has no choice, that she was made to dissolve. That is the lie. She chose to stop choosing, and then hid the choosing from herself. She isn't loving too much. She's in bad faith about being free, and using another human being as the exit. So the lesson under Anna's glow in Beauvoir's actual words, disappearing into someone isn't the summit of love. It's a flight into immanence, dressed up as devotion. And now the cruel part, because Beauvoir is not sentimental. The tragedy isn't only that Anna sinks into immanence, it's that the move kills the love it was trying to keep. And there's a philosophical reason, not just an emotional one. Go back to essential and inessential. Beauvoir takes this from Hegel's old parable of the master and the slave. The master forces the slave to be the inessential other, a mere object that mirrors him. But it backfires. And here's the twist that runs everyone's love life. Recognition from an object is worthless. You cannot be truly seen by something you've reduced to a thing. The master is left horribly alone, confirmed only by a mirror. That is exactly what Anna does to the man she loves. By making him her god, her essential subject, the sole source of her meaning, she turns him into a master who now needs an equal to recognize him and finds only a reflection. It is exhausting to be someone's whole world. Nobody can be a god. So he pulls back. And the more he pulls back, the more she clings, because she burned her own projects, the paintings, the Thursday class, and he is all the world she has left. Then the second blade. What he fell for was a subject, a transcendence, a someone with her own flight. As she thins into a pure object that only reflects him, there is less and less of that someone to love. She becomes what Beauvoir bluntly calls a burden, and love curdles into pity, and pity into contempt. She gave him everything, and in the giving she erased the free being he actually wanted. So the woman in love loses twice, and the losses are one thing. She surrenders her transcendence, and because she surrendered it, the love collapses. You cannot be recognized as a subject once you've made yourself an object. A merger has no one left inside it to love. So what does Beauvoir want instead? Not less love, authentic love, and she means authentic precisely as the opposite of bad faith. She lays it out in the ethics of ambiguity. Authentic love is not two halves becoming one. That fusion is the fairy tale, and the fairy tale is the trap. It is reciprocal recognition, two transcendences, two free subjects, who face each other as equals and each will the other's freedom. Not I possess you, not I dissolve into you, but I want you to keep flying, and I choose to fly alongside you. Two people who stay subjects, two immanencies refused. That word reciprocal is the whole thing. In the woman in love, recognition runs one way. She confirms him, he is confirmed by a mirror, nobody is really seen. In authentic love, it runs both ways. Each is a subject for the other, and precisely because both stay free, the recognition is worth something. You can only be truly loved by a freedom, never by a thing you've collected. And here is the test she hands Anna, and you can run it tonight. It sounds like a feeling question. It is really a question about immanence and transcendence. If this love ended tomorrow, would there still be a you? Not, would it hurt? Of course it would, catastrophically. That's the facticity of having loved a real person. The question is whether any transcendence of yours would still be standing. Is there still a project that was yours, a painting, a Thursday class, a thought that was never his? If the honest answer is no, if you would simply cease, then you have not been loving. You have gone immanent, and the rent on that is your entire self. Real love, she says, should increase your transcendence, not swallow it. If it's shrinking you into an object, it is not love, however devoted it feels, especially when it feels most devoted. And here Dev finally says it. This is a book about women, from 1949. What's it got to do with me? Beauvoir waited her whole life to answer that, and she answers it with her most famous line. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Sit with what that sentence actually claims. She is saying the disappearing is not nature, it is a situation. Women were not born to sink into immanence. They were trained to it, walled out of transcendence, told the walls were their virtue. Woman here is not a body. It is a position, the one taught to make herself the inessential other so that a man could be the subject. It is made, not given. And the instant you see that, the whole thing comes off the axis of gender. Because the flight from freedom into immanence, bad faith hiding in another person, has no sex. You have watched men do it. The man who vanishes into a woman and calls her his reason to breathe. The person who dissolves into a boss, a crowd, a leader, a god. Anyone who will be the essential subject so they don't have to carry their own freedom. Beauvoir found it first where it was most brutally trained and dragged it into the light so the rest of us could catch ourselves in it. So the lesson isn't, ladies, keep your hobbies. It's harder and older. Transcendence is not optional equipment for love. There has to be a subject before there can be an us. And staying a subject is a discipline, because the situation is always training you back toward the object. Now, the strange part, because this channel is built on philosophers whose lives test their theories, and Beauvoir's is the hardest test of all. You met her partner in episode 3, Jean-Paul Sartre, the philosopher of radical freedom, of the look, of bad faith. In 1929, they made a pact that scandalized Paris and still does. They would love each other their whole lives, but never marry, never live together, never own each other, never lie. Theirs was the essential love. Both were free to take contingent loves, other affairs, and to tell each other everything. Two transcendences side by side, refusing to become each other's immanence. She was, quite literally, trying to live reciprocal recognition. For 51 years until his death, she never once took his name or his roof. It sounds like the theory made flesh, and for a long time she presented it as one. But here's what the poster leaves out, and, to her enormous credit, what Beauvoir let into her own letters. The pact was not symmetrical. Sartre's freedom cost him little. Hers cost more. When she wrote her novels and her philosophy, the world still filed her under Sartre's companion. La grande Sartreuse, the woman beside the great man. She, who wrote The Anatomy of the Inessential Other, spent her life being made the inessential other by everyone else's eyes, recognized only in relation to his subject. And in her private letters there is jealousy she never showed in public. Nights the freedom felt less like transcendence and more like a cold principle she'd argued herself into. So did Simone de Beauvoir achieve reciprocal recognition, two equal subjects. Or did she, in the world's ledger, if not in her own heart, slide into the very inessential position she spent 900 pages warning us about, just at a higher altitude than Anna? Honestly, both. And that is why hers is the answer to trust. She didn't hand us a clean fairy tale from outside the problem. She lived the hardest version of two freedoms side by side, all the way to the end, and let us see the seams, the cost, the asymmetry, the loneliness of refusing to merge. She's buried in Montparnasse in the same grave as Sartre. Even that is the pact exactly. Together, and still two names on one stone, two subjects, never a merger, back to Anna, glowing, certain she has finally learned to love. Nobody here will tell her to love him less. That's Dev's old cynic answer, and it's wrong. Beauvoir's is harder and kinder. Love him as much as you want, but do it as a subject. Reclaim your transcendence. Go back to the Thursday class. Pick the brush back up badly at first. A project of your own is not a betrayal of him. It is the precondition for him being able to love an actual someone. Have a take he'll disagree with and survive the disagreement because two subjects can disagree and both remain. A mirror cannot. Run her test. If it ended tomorrow, would there still be a you? If the honest answer frightens you, that is not the size of your love. It is the alarm telling you you've gone imminent, that you've slipped into bad faith about your own freedom and that the love you're guarding so hard is dying of exactly the surrender you're feeding it. The most loving thing Anna can do for this relationship is become again a free subject who could survive its ending. And here is the paradox that only makes sense once you have the words for it. The transcendence that lets you leave is the only thing that makes it real when you stay. So it goes in the ledger, in her own steady hand beside Lewis and beneath Schopenhauer's cold blue line, de Beauvoir. Love is reciprocal recognition. Two transcendences, never a merger. Schopenhauer wrote that you were only facticity, only biology. She writes underneath, and also a freedom, the part he couldn't measure, so he denied it existed. They share the page and correct each other, which is the whole point of a ledger. Not a winner, a conversation getting more honest. Take the real words with you. The next time love asks you to disappear, to drop the projects, hand someone the terror of your freedom and call the surrender devotion, you now know its true name. Not devotion, but a flight into immanence, in bad faith about the fact that you are free. Come to love as a subject. Keep your transcendence. Will the other's freedom instead of swallowing it. And keep, always, the terrifying freedom to go, because reciprocal recognition between two people who could leave and choose to stay is the only love that was ever really yours to give. And if you think you've got it now, two free subjects, freely choosing, brace yourself, because next time a gloomy Dane leans in and unravels the word choice itself. If love is a free choice, he'll ask, then what is a promise worth, made by a self that changes from one moment to the next? What happens the morning you simply don't choose it? He got engaged to the only woman he ever loved, then broke it off on purpose, and spent the rest of his life writing about her and about the leap he could not take. Søren Kierkegaard. Same question. Different answer. What is love?